2.
And good morning, everybody, and welcome to
the Olympian Table. What it is? What's going on, good people? How you doing this morning, sir?
Living the dream, living the dream. What type of week you had, James?
Actually, man, this week has been fairly uneventful. Had a couple people get under contract and then back out, mainly because of the cost of taxes and of course rates gone up. But so it's been a little bit of an emotional roller coaster to say the least. But it is what it is. We deal with it. We move through it. It's all good. But other than that, man, I'm alive. I'm here.
And you're breathing.
And I'm breathing. You got it. So, that we are living. I had some CE yesterday. That's a joy, right?
But you have to do yours yearly.
We have to do it yearly.
Real estate agents, we do ours bi.
Yeah, we have to do it yearly, and it's a mandatory thing. There's been some issues with people cheating, and not just people, but the actual schools that have allowed like other people to come and take it. Like if you want to go and take the CE for me, so now they're implementing two things. Our passwords have to be like 30 characters now in order to sign in to it. Then they are trying to implement an actual live video session, so you have to be seen as the person. So I don't know if we're going to get ID cards eventually or what the case is, but it's always some folks that's ruining it for everyone. So that's where we are. But yeah, that was fun.
I mean, we all get busy, but the truth of the matter is, let's just be as good as we can for our clients.
Exactly.
That's really what it comes down to.
Exactly. I totally agree.
And it's amazing. I'll be honest with you, it's a bit of a confession, but I'd like to do CE yearly.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's better for the client. And every time you do your CE, you think to yourself, it's changed. And the problem that you get into CE is when you go to do CE, you're always behind the ball. You're always behind when it actually happens.
Yeah. For y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be nice to do it yearly.
To kind of keep you up to date.
And then say, okay, in July next year, this is going to be implemented.
That makes sense.
In August next year, this is going to be implemented, because the last one I did, they give you a choice of our continuing education, and they mentioned tiny homes, and you know how enthusiastic I am about tiny homes. That's the way we breach the unaffordability of people buying their first home. And there's a project that I'd like to sort of get started on that, but I think
maybe closer to that than we realize, right?
Absolutely.
We might need to do some mega.
So if we've got any investors out there that want to get involved in our tiny homes project, please get in contact with us.
Absolutely.
So what we got then, buddy?
Well, just to start off, yesterday in my CE, of course, a little bit of a benefit with doing that class. Everett, I don't know if you can see, man, there's a little bit of, in the composition, some dead space at the top of us. So if you get an opportunity to kind of move those down a little whenever you get a chance. Anyways, the advantage of taking these CE classes with this guy who happens to be a regulator is he has kind of some insight behind the scenes, and he was talking about interest rates. And of course, I've told you this, I think rates are going to go back down. The reason rates are where they are now is because they're trying to slow inflation. And contrary to popular belief, inflation is what drives interest rates up, not the Feds driving interest rates up, just so everyone understands that. But he confirmed what I thought yesterday, that rates are going to be lower, probably lower than they were before, which is almost impossible to believe because they were in the twos before. Can you imagine getting an interest rate of 1 point something in mortgage? Don't hold me to it, but as we go through the year, more in the fourth quarter, I think we'll probably see a turn, as long as the economy kind of continues the way it's been going, where interest rates will be favorable for us. So I say don't wait.
because of course prices are still going up, but you'll have an opportunity to refinance. Get the house, get into it now. Rates will go back down. Then you can refinance and be.
I was watching an article about houses on CNBC, and they had Redfin on there, and they were saying that it's their calculation that the US is around 4 million homes short of where they need to be.
4 million?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And one of the problems with why we're in this mess was because when we went through the 2008 housing crisis, there were so many people, we're talking tradespeople now, that was in the business, who did not want to continue because there was no business out there. So they went into other trades, they went to do other things. So for us, a lot of builders are having problems finding tradespeople.
That doesn't surprise me, because a lot of, and you know this, like I know, because we have kids about the same age. Some of these young folks, that's almost like beneath them. They don't want to go out and roll the sleeves up and get dirty. They want this get rich quick kind of deal. My son was coming up to me, funny enough, last night. He texted me from work and he says, "Hey, Dad, you know anything about wholesaling?" I said, "Yeah." "What do you know about wholesaling?" He saw on TikTok, some video, a guy talking about, of course, they only
give you the good news, right? How you can go, you got to do this and do this in 30 days, and then you flip this, blah, blah, blah. Then he throws in, and use this promo code from my website. I said, there's the hook right there, son.
That's just making money.
He's making money off people going to the website. So he's like, oh. I said, now don't get me wrong, wholesaling is a real thing. It happens. It takes place. The market we're in now, it's tougher because you got to be impossible. Yeah, you got to be in a good equity position to do it, and we're not in that space right now. But those guys on there, they give you the easy and the good news all
and the perfect deal.
In a perfect world, right? So that's where our kids' minds are these days, and we're losing a lot of tradespeople. Even in my CE class yesterday, they were talking about appraisers. How that space, we're in a deficit with the amount of real estate appraisers. That's what I've been trying to get my son interested in. I'm like, bro, if you want to do something, get into real estate appraising because there's a shortage of it. And
be technically minded.
He is. I mean, he can. He's a smart kid, but just like any other 19-year-old, they want it quick. They want it yesterday. And I've been trying to tell them just start the progression on what you need to do to take the classes, to get enrolled, because real estate appraisers, they want you to go to college.
It's a tough road.
Yeah, it is. It's not easy, but once you've gone to do it, I mean, you pretty much write your own ticket.
Because
one of my old clients, many years ago, and I don't know if you can still do this, used to appraise houses, and then in the south, when we used to have hurricanes and all sorts of natural disasters, he would go to another part of the country for 3 or 4 weeks and make as much money in 3 months that I would in 12 months, because he was appraising properties, for various companies, and he would come back and he would buy properties. That's what he used to do.
That's it.
He'd make more money in 3 months than I ever would in 12 months.
And that's the thing. I don't know. I think that's just kind of the space that we live in. So the trades, you're right about that. They can't find the people to do the work for their home, so they are short. But they're gonna feel it. We talked about that. I think they'll feel it first.
Well, by all accounts, some of these carpenters and electricians, I mean, they're offering 150, 200,000 a year just to get them at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why it's driving the prices up of some of the houses.
Well, I found this number out yesterday as well. So we'll go into our first discussion is about home builders. But if you had to guess, what would you think the cost is before a shovel hits the ground for a home builder to build a house? If you had to just give a number, what would you say? How much skin in the game do they have?
Before the land cost, and can you go on to the first article?
When a home builder starts, they're gonna build on a plot of land, how much money do they have invested, would you guess, before they even start to hammer a nail, dig a shovel in the ground to pour a foundation or anything? What would be your guess, number-wise?
150?
Exactly. 150 grand before anything is ever there is what they're in already. That number was surprising to some people, but not so much surprising to me, because they need that money to start to build and to pay whoever else is going to get out there and do it. And then, of course, by the time they get to the end of it, they're recouping a lot of that back in the cost.
But the builders aren't making as much on the top as they used to.
Not as much as they have, but they're pushing the prices up so fast. We're talking month in pricing. Like, if you don't buy by April 30th this month, that house that you're looking at will probably be 25 to 30 grand more May 1st. And that's the environment that we live in right now. They're increasing it because they create their own comps. Mm-hmm. All they need is one person to buy it, and boom, that's a comp for them.
I was looking at a listing yesterday from a well-known company that wholesale properties. Mm-hmm. All right, Open Door.
Open Door.
And on the notes at the bottom, it says, we'll give you a $2,500 credit if you use our loan person.
Open Door's doing that now, huh?
To me, that's steering.
Well, confirmed yesterday that it is not. The CE classes, they're very informational, at least the one I take. So it's gone to the Supreme Court because we've argued as mortgage bankers that is steering. That's your kind of...
Okay, but you see, here's the other side to that. That's a bit like saying, if you go to Stephen Williams to buy a house, all right, then he'll give you $2,500.
It is that. It's that. But see, y'all aren't regulated the way we are. So you can get away with it. You can do that. You can entice. But the deal with it is, here's the loophole that why they're safe. It's an incentive. It's an incentive that the buyer has to choose to take or not to take. You're not forcing them. You can still buy the house. But if you use this company, this is what they're going to give you to do it. That's how they got away with it.
But here's the part that I didn't like about it. Okay. This particular house, I'm not saying bad things about Open Door. I'm just saying in this particular house, I know the area very well. I've got some investment properties in that area. The house isn't worth
what they're selling it for?
They're selling it for.
Yeah.
Oh.
The house is probably 30,000, 40,000 overpriced. Now I haven't viewed the house. I intend to view it the weekend to go and just to be nosy and have a look. I'll be honest, it's a vacant house, and I intend to go and have a look at it. But quite honestly, when you look at the comps, any agent that really knows their business, when they look at the comps, that comp is probably quite generally $30,000 to $40,000 above list price.
Or where it should be.
Right.
So, in this, you and I both know in this market that we're in, someone will come in and probably make an offer on it. Because everyone's in this mindset as, I've got a bit more in order to be able to do, move forward.
But would they bid $30,000 to $40,000 because of $2,500 that they're getting on?
Well, if they don't know where it is, the regular buyer doesn't really know. They don't have the knowledge to look to see that this home is $30,000 to $40,000 overpriced.
Where do you think that $2,500 comes from? Do you think it comes from the loan officer giving it back towards closing costs? Is that how that because the $2,500 has got to come from somewhere?
Well, we're capped at what we can actually give towards certain transactions. So it could literally be a credit from Open Door. Not necessarily the mortgage company, but they're just saying, hey, if you do use this mortgage company, because they probably align themselves with a mortgage company that says, hey, we want you to be our finance company.
Or a wholesaler, flipper, correct?
Right.
So obviously they're making X amount of dollars.
Of course.
On that property.
So they got room for $2,500. This is dropping a bucket for them. But if they work with a company that they know and they trust, they feel more comfortable with someone going through this company because they,
Well, this was a new home on the market. First day on the market was yesterday, and it was quite funny how I looked at it and I seen it.
Yeah, 30, 40 grand. But you know what? Even if they don't sell it for that price, they'll come down some, maybe 10,000, and then someone might bite on it. And there's a comp for the next one. So they're not too far off for the next one coming up. So I don't know. I think some of these companies will make it through, but who knows? Some don't.
What upsets me about it is, I think I told you the other day, there was a program about, realtors steering up in Canada. Okay. Because it was a for sale by owner, and the owner was paying the 1%.
Because it's a 5% kind of up there,
right?
Yeah.
And then there was one person that would, show the house, and he basically said, "Look, I'll do the right thing and I'll show the house to you, but my rate's normally, 3%." And I've got to be, my opinion is, I think I've told you before, I sold my house in England and it was a lot cheaper than what it was over here, But what upsets me is you've got people pick on the realtors. At times I feel that obviously there's good and there's bad realtors, like there are loan officers, like there are gas companies,
sure.
like there are, and I think you should accept that. But at the same time, you've got some really good realtors out there,
right,
to do excellent jobs. I mean, we've got some really good realtors who, when I buy properties, I don't buy them myself. I go through one of our realtors because there's advantages to that. There's less liability for that. And the truth of the matter is, I feel that at times when you hear cases like we just spoke about, without steering, it doesn't seem a like to like for me.
No, I agree.
It doesn't seem right. It's like everybody picks on the realtor, everybody blames the realtor. And I don't think it's necessarily right, because I feel that there's some good realtors. As I said, we've got some fabulous realtors.
I agree with you.
But the builders are really struggling, and they were saying that we've got to build another 4 million homes. And how do we ever build 4 million homes? We haven't even got the tradespeople to build them homes.
Yeah, that's hurting them, of course, and then of course surging interest rates are hurting them as well, because people are looking at prices and they're getting a little gun shy.
Well, one of our agents in the office, very successful agent, Toke, I can never pronounce her last name, Toke Properties. She got the property next door under contract.
The D&B's?
Yeah.
Really?
And everybody knows the famous Dave and Buster's building.
Right.
Well, one of our agents bought that, and he got it under contract for a significant amount of money.
Do they know what it's going to be, or we don't know yet?
We don't.
Okay.
We don't know. Well, that particular investor that bought that, he's looking for land, and he's gone overboard, so he wants land everywhere. That's his big thing at the moment, and he's developing it. And he's specifically developing, townhomes, wherever it can develop, he's developing. Commercial, he's developing it.
It's a good space.
But the problem is, it's finding it.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to find. It's so difficult to find.
I'd be interested to see what they're going to turn that thing into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as they don't turn it into a titty bar, I'll be happy.
That'd be one big.
Can you imagine?
Man.
Well, you come to our office and then you'll see the titty bar on the right.
Oh man, that's funny.
Be somewhere to go for lunch and have a bite to eat.
Hey, you know, I could. I wouldn't be in there, but you know, it is what
I
it
can't
is.
believe I'm actually going to say this, but I think Houston got one too many titty bars right now.
It hasn't got as many as it used to.
Yeah, some of them closed. There's one now. There's one.
Have you heard my famous story? Have I ever told you my famous story about when I first came to Houston?
You had to work in one of those.
When I first came to
bars?
Houston, I said to the skating director when I was teaching at the rink, Kathy Stangl, I said, I want to go somewhere and meet some real Texans. And I was staying at the Southwest Houston. And she looked around and she said, don't try that place over there. And I even forget the name of it, it's still there. And I went in there and there was girls swinging around on bars. And this is a true story, all I had in my pocket was $20. It was $10 to get in. All right, a beer was like $8. I was left with $2, and there was this girl putting her arms all over me all the time. And I'm like, well, if this is what Texas is about, I'm all That's a true story.
Oh, Steve, the ladies' man, $2 table dance.
Yeah.
Anywho, so this first article, man, is just basically talking about we're more about home builders, of course, and the home builder sentiment drops to 7-month low amid surging mortgage rates. Of course, we talked about that right now. It's people aren't excited right now going out there to these home builders as much as they.
What would be James Lee mortgage advice at the moment then? Go out and buy a home?
Yes, don't wait.
But if you said rates are dropping?
Well, rates are dropping, or I'm anticipating that they will drop, but you don't want to wait until they drop, because what you can buy today for $300,000 will be $350 by the time you try to go and buy it. So why not just buy it? Make your payments for however long. You're going to have a little bit of a grace period in there anyways to get started. Buy the house and then refinance it in the future. But at least you already have it at today's price versus waiting. People think waiting is going to do good, and waiting is only going to put you in a worse position. I can't tell you how many people now that I'm getting calls back and I'm having to reissue pre-qualification letters because rates have gone up and prices have gone up.
As you know, I've had a couple of car crashes this year, but let's just say none of my fault. All basically people, sideswiping my car or coming out of T-junction and so whatever. And the guy that works at Sterling McCall, Enrique down there, he's looking at buying a house for him and his family and everything else. And you've seen the text the other day.
Right.
Is there any way I can get a cheaper rate than what they're saying at the moment? And I told him at the time, go ahead and get a house. Because I really still feel that the inventory's not there. And I know people say that the inventory's going to get better, but I don't think it is in the Sun Belt. You're in the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
People are coming from all over the country to the Sun Belt. And I just don't...
The Bible Belt, you mean, right? What are you talking about, the Sun Belt?
The Sun Belt. I prefer saying the Sun Belt.
But yeah, they are moving here, because some for the weather, some for the taxes. Things are cheaper,
but
so
they can get more for the bucks.
They do get more bang for the bucks. But I think in this builder, buyers are less excited about the builder deal, but I think they're still going to see some, because there's been some supply chain issues. They'll see some influx on it, but we already know that the rate's going to go up again next month by probably at least 50 basis points for the feds to try to help bring inflation down some more. So that's only going to help with interest rates being a little bit lower, but it won't help with the price of the homes, because they're going up. Seems like it month after month after month after month. So
yeah. So what we got next?
Let me see. My husband and I made the mistake buying a home, and I regretted it since. I thought we had talked about this one, but let's see if this is in here. I think this is one you put in here. Let me see. A year ago, after a fruitless home search, my husband and I found ourselves growing increasingly desperate. They wanted to sell their starter home. What did they do? They ended up getting into the property survey. Remember we were talking about the survey line, or the survey wasn't done properly?
Oh, right.
Yeah, they went over it.
We have spoken about that.
We talked about that one last week. Let's see. All right, so
Buying land that you can't use.
yeah. Speaking of land, I'm seeing a lot of people kind of come out and wanting to buy land. Those land loans are a little bit more risky, so you got to put more down. But folks are
That's what I said.
trying to get land.
People are buying land at the moment. You know.
There's not a whole lot.
I heard the other
city.
day there's somebody buying 500 acres in El Paso, and it's like 10 police officers all getting together, putting their savings together and buying 500 acres in El Paso.
What are they going to do? Did they say what they're going to do with it?
Just buy it and hold it. And then maybe in the future, maybe they'll put some warehouses on it or something or whatever. But for the time being, they're on about just taking it and holding it. Limited resource. Sounds a bit like Bitcoin when you say limited.
It does. It does. Speaking of, there's been a bigger push in crypto mortgages. People doing mortgages and being able to use their cryptocurrency as asset because it's becoming more and more popular. So you'll probably see more and more of that, or at least people.
I think you should be able to buy a house with crypto, though.
If it has a value to it, if it can be converted to U.S. dollars, I don't see why not. Just like anything else, you can sell a stock and pull the money out.
I don't think I'd like to do it at the moment because it's dropped a lot. But
Yeah.
I mean,
This is the
I
time
see
to
it
buy.
going. But I see it going back up.
Yeah, if you can sell a stock and get money out of it, I don't know why you couldn't.
What's interesting about Bitcoin is back in 2014 when crypto was like, I don't know, $200. Somebody will go out there and say, oh well, I've got 10 Bitcoin, right? And then maybe 2016, 2017, I don't know what Bitcoin was, but say Bitcoin was $2,000 each. Oh, well, I've got 5 Bitcoin. Now a lot of people are out there buying Bitcoin. It's like, well, I've got 0.01 Bitcoin.
I'm a fractional owner. I don't have multiples, but yeah, shoot, when it gets up there, 30, 40 grand.
Bitcoin, that's expensive.
Do you think
so.
it's going to drop, or do you think it's going to drop more? Some people think it's going to go down to 30.
It may before it goes back up.
Dude.
Who knows? I say buy in the dip, see what happens. Buy a little bit. Get a little bit, throw it in there.
Some people are saying they're thinking it's bottomed out.
You think so?
Stock market as well.
What are your people?
I think this year's going to be rocky. Whichever way you go, I think it's going to be rocky. I mean, look at yesterday.
Yeah.
Tesla. I bought a few Tesla yesterday.
Oh.
But if you buy at them price, I mean, I know we're going to get onto the whole, the Twitter thing with a bit later on, but quite honestly, I see such a future for Tesla. Will it affect Elon Musk? I think it may, to be perfectly honest, with the whole Twitter thing. I mean, he's very spread out.
He might sell it.
I hope not.
Who knows?
I hope not.
It's still
I hope he
down.
doesn't sell it.
It's down today. I don't know if the deal is finalized yet, but it's at $48.
Twitter?
Yeah, $48 a share today. So, but nevertheless, so
It's down to the shareholders at this point, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean he's the majority shareholder.
And apparently he's got to borrow money to buy it. Apparently he's leveraging money to buy Twitter.
He's worth like $260 billion. I don't know why he.
You got that article that I put on?
Is the link in here already?
Yeah.
Well, let's just go ahead and go to that one then.
Okay, which one we took?
Number 9.
Okay. Yep.
Apparently, there's a lot of things he's got to go through.
You said there's a termination fee.
You know, Twitter Musk deal includes $1 billion termination fee. All right, and it says Elon Musk will have to pay Twitter $1 billion. A billionaire terminates his $44 billion cash deal for the social media company.
The guy has 200 billion.
Oh yeah, he's a multi.
Just go down a minute, go down.
Billion.
You're only asking.
But there's other. See, one of the conditions that Musk payment his deal falls through because the equity, debt, and margin loan financing needed is not funded. The filing said.
Oh, that's if the deal falls through because of the equity debt.
Right.
I wonder if they're trying to squeeze him though.
What's that?
You wonder if they're trying to squeeze him.
Well, I mean, look how many billion he lost yesterday. It's going to be a rocky year, I tell you. You know, I mean, look how much money Tesla went down yesterday in one day.
But Tesla, I mean, you think it's going to stay down? Honestly, I don't.
I hope so. So I'm buying some more shares.
It's up $31 today, though.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay, let me remind you. At least, it's kind of me.
And the beauty of the shares now, you can buy portions of them. You don't have to buy full ones.
That is the best thing they ever could have done.
You know,
I think that opened it up for a whole lot more people that probably wouldn't have.
And they're also saying that that's what will make the success of Bitcoin is by the smaller people getting in plus the institutions.
Right.
When do you reckon they'll get to the 21 million in Bitcoin? When do you feel they'll get to...
Volume-wise, you mean?
Yeah. I read something yesterday and they said they don't think they'll get there till 2030. I hope they get there before then.
I think more people are getting in.
I'll be in a box by that time.
No, you won't. That's only 8 years from now, man. We'll be sitting here doing the podcast.
In a box.
We'll prop you up over there. Make sure wipe his mouth. Wipe his mouth. Who knows? But there's a. I mean, some people are feeling like you should sell because of course it's below 40,000 now. But I don't know. We'll see.
Some people, the value of Tesla in 2030 is going to be around 12 grand. You know,
12,000? That just seems.
But you know they're doing the stock split now.
Yeah.
Well, it's talk of the stock split, but it's got to go to the shareholders in June to get approved, and they reckon it's going to be a 5-to-1 split. So each share will be around $200.
Well, that's not bad at all.
But if you go on the increase of a stock share as what it's been, then by 2030 you're talking a lot of money for one share. You know, could it be a second Google? I mean, I really think Elon Musk is such a smart guy.
He is.
He's, you know,
it's quite calculated at what he's done.
Yeah.
He is quite calculated. All right, so let's go to Florida, man. We're on number 4. Let's as we power through this. It's already 10:43. So this is an interesting type of little story for me because I think my wife is the one that told me that there was a TV show that had something about this, and I'm pretty certain you haven't seen this show, but it's called Snowfall, and it is on Hulu, and it is about a young man and they start to show his life growing up in, I think it was California, it might have been Compton, and his trek through him starting, he was selling drugs and what he became, this drug kingpin, blah blah blah, so on and so forth, and his family dealings. Well, at one of these weddings on the show, they laced the chocolate fountain with some kind of LSD, PSP, or whatever. So everybody that went and took strawberries or banana, whatever it was, everybody was high at the wedding. So
this actually happened.
This is on the TV show that it was showing that, but this article is actually what happened in Florida when someone said they released body cam footage of a wedding with drug-laced food. So apparently they put marijuana or CBD, whatever, in the food at this wedding. And the caterer, some 31-year-old lady, and then the lady who actually was getting married, the bride, she's 42. But
she got married to the wrong.
Well, who knows? If you scroll down a little bit, there's a mug shots of these folks. Lady on the left was the one that was getting married. Lady on the right is the caterer. They first charges, of course, of tampering with food and delivery of marijuana, because they I know there's edibles and things that people do, all that stuff in certain states, but I don't think they're legal in Florida. But could you imagine going to a wedding and you go and get your deviled eggs and whatever, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're dancing on the table because you're high as a kite?
Nobody invites me to weddings anymore.
I wonder why.
Oh, because you were doing that without the deviled eggs, huh? Well, yeah, that was the case. And my wife, of course, is the one that brought it to my attention.
Did the bride know that was the?
Oh yeah, they're all in. Supposedly they're in on it. Like the bride asked them to asked the caterer to do it. The only, you know who didn't know? He didn't know. I was just about to say that. He didn't know. The husband was the one. But it was like, well, why would anybody do something like that? But apparently, here's the thing. It's body cam footage. So somebody knew to set the camera up in there. And I don't know if they were just trying to do a recreation of this TV show or what, but I think it's just an asinine idea to do this. Can you imagine somebody getting, let's say you got hurt. They were high and somebody fell off into the pool and drowned, or is it worth it?
Well, it's definitely a wedding you'll never forget.
They definitely won't be a wedding and a funeral. Isn't that a movie? I think that is a movie. But yeah, it was.
Is that why people go to Florida?
You know, maybe. But that's a little bit of the footage there on there showing the cameras that were actually in place.
So people did get hurt.
Oh, looks like someone might have gotten hurt.
Can't stand off still? Yes.
They got sick. Because of course you start eating something, and all of a sudden you start to feel sick.
I guess they didn't buy the right stuff.
Clearly.
Who knows, man? You just never know with this craziness. It's a risk for sure. Definitely a risk.
You can take that back.
But yeah, I thought that was interesting, man. That is interesting that they would even risk that in putting drugs in people's food, and how closely it tied with that TV show. Speaking of TV shows, I just gotta, because I've just finished seeing this. You told me about the Ukraine on Fire movie on YouTube.
Did you watch it?
I found it finally. I haven't finished watching it yet because I want to.
And just for everybody out there, you got to go to YouTube
to find it.
There's a film out there by Oliver Stone. It's called Ukraine on Fire, and it goes on about the history of Ukraine and all the problems that they've had, and how America has had
our hand in the cookie jar.
Yeah, that's. I was trying to think of a way.
Yeah. And also, kind of as Paul Harvey used to put it, the rest of the story, that you may not have heard that we're not getting from anywho. So you told me about that. Have you ever heard of this movie called Contagion?
No.
Okay. Do you have Netflix?
Watch it.
Steven. If you watch Contagion, you I'm no conspiracy theorist at all, but if you watch Contagion, this movie came out in 2011, you would think that we've been punked for the past 2-3 years. It's a movie about a virus that started with one individual and how it spread and how it was handled. I'm not going to give any details on it. Contagion, Contagion. It's on Netflix. That movie, as I watched it, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This cannot be real. 2011 and up to 2019, 2021, what we've just come out of dealing with, it was a little amazing to me. But I just want to throw that out there so you can, since you gave me a good recommendation on it.
But did you watch the Ukraine on Fire?
Now I'm not finished with it. I started into it, but I haven't finished it because I don't want to start it late and fall asleep on it or anything like that. I want to.
Don't worry, it took me a couple of times to get through it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I just thought it was some of the things in that we blame Putin for. I don't agree with him jumping into another country's things, and because when you look at the mass graves and all the other stuff, but it really definitely adds another dimension to the equation. The only thing, unfortunately, that I'm not very proud of is how we've reacted.
Right.
We should have,
as a country,
we should be giving them if it goes to World War III, then you know what? It goes to World War III. But to let somebody just, do what he's doing, I think he's basically criminal.
No, I agree.
To jump into another country because then he doesn't stop. And I'd rather the problem be over there.
I agree. All right, I guess staying in Florida, what we see here, I think you put this one in.
Just the thing
about Disney?
Yeah, I want to talk about Disney.
Let's talk about
Disney. Because I know you've got your views on it and I've got my views on it.
Everyone's got their views on Disney. Where are they at, man? Where are they at? My family's going to be going to Disney Inc. Europe in about next summer.
Disney have got this break, okay, this tax break, and it's going. By all accounts, it's going to lead to a shortfall of 168 million.
I thought it was more than that.
All right, in Orange County.
I thought it was like 578 million, something like that.
And I don't know if that's per week, per month, or whatever. But this is what my issue is. I know you have a different view of it. I don't fully understand the he, the she, the it. To me, what do they call it? LBGTX, whatever.
The alphabet people. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I respect them people, whatever they are, whatever they want to be. It's totally up to them. Totally up to them. But in America, everybody's got this thing about government stays out of my business and freedom of speech. With what DeSantis has done, is that freedom of speech?
Freedom of speech, I would say it's no different than Chick-fil-A kind of being battered for their stance that they take on certain issues.
How have they been battered, though?
You said, how have they been battered?
They don't do fish. No, but how have they been battered? I know they don't take a very good term, on gay people, and that's...
All they do is just they don't hire openly gay people. It's not exactly the worst crime in the world.
Well, the thing I think with it was just that it was found that they were funding people that were openly against gay marriage or whatever, which in my opinion, quite frankly, if you want to be married and you're gay, That's your business.
Absolutely.
You'll deal with all the other issues that the regular married people deal with.
There we go.
It's your business. That's what you want to
That
do.
would just work anyway. So
Yeah.
There you go.
My thing is, I think the biggest issue when it all started, in my opinion, with the gay marriage deal, it was really just their rights, because they were treated as if if you weren't married, I can't go, even though we've been together, I can't go into the hospital with you to see you, on your deathbed, or I can't get on your medical insurance, or all that kind of thing. So I think the whole marriage deal was a push to get them, their rights to being that partner that they needed to be. But I think what's happened now, that it's gone into the over-sexualization of orientation and gender identification and with children. And I think that's the push. It's gone beyond, which I honestly don't think that was ever the idea when it comes from the gay community. I don't think that was what their position was. But there are some folks that are associated with it per se, and their big push in pushing the sexualization onto kids from kindergarten to third grade, that's what this whole thing is about. This parental rights bill that they're calling Don't Say Gay bill, which that is not the name of it, that's what this whole standoff is about. And I don't get the big hoopla over people wanting to tell kids so badly about this type of thing. Let kids be innocent for as long as they can. The world is already trash.
Pretty well.
They're going to be born into this and have to deal with issues. It's eventually going to happen. But why do you have a problem with keeping kindergarten to third grade kids out of adult business? I don't understand it. And that's what the push is. Because some of these folks at Disney in the top were talking about they want to be able to put this and put it in some of the animations and blah, blah, blah. So why is that such a big deal? I don't understand it at all. I do not understand it one bit.
The part that's interesting is, from a political point. Hold on, Everett. It's somewhere on here. It says that Disney donated how many $1 million
Oy.
to DeSantis.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see that. Donate or not, if you donated money to me and then you come out and tell me, hey James, by the way, I want to let kids.
Here it is. It's on there to change.
Where?
Could cost the conglomerate. Oh, that's the cost of the conglomerate. But apparently, they donated a lot of money to the Republican Party, and I don't think that should make a difference.
Oh.
Whether in some ways, I'm glad DeSantis took the decision that he did, regardless or how much. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I agree with his decision, because to me, it's no bigger deal. So the whole hoopla is about whether you say to a 3 to an 11-year-old.
No. 5 to 8.
Whether it explains if somebody's gay or
Sexual
not.
orientation and gender identity, talking about all of that stuff. Which is like, come on.
Isn't that kind of like a home subject? Like
That was what the bill is about. Being able to say, you know what, don't talk about this at school. Let's just leave it up to the parents. It's literally called the Parental Rights Bill. That's what it's called. It's a bill for that. Let's just talk about it. We'll just protect those conversations, and we'll have them at home with the kids. But you have teachers that are, a part of the community, and they were just well, I can't talk about my partner, and I can't say that I'm gay, and I can't say, so what? Who cares?
they're kids.
They're kids.
They don't really pay that much attention when you talk about math or reading either. So
I don't. That's what the whole push is, and the fact that some of these folks they came out with Disney. They kind of came out and made comments because it was recorded about pushing some of it and wanting to push this into some of their movies and all that stuff. That's the issue right there. See, did Disney say trans that are it? I don't think it's even the just quote unquote gays. It's the trans folks. They are they're the loudest voice right now, in my opinion. They're the loudest voice, and they are really truly coming out and speaking against all of this, the whole don't say gay deal. I don't even know if I were a gay man, I don't know that I would even associate with it, because it's been ridiculous. That has definitely been ridiculous. Yes.
What do you think the problem is with that? The whole problem with the trans thing is in what column do you put them in?
Well, I think they're in a column of their own per se, but the deal with it is once you go past, what's it, the fourth letter, it gets into
The chop.
a whole different. Man, it's all these gender identities, and it's like there's a new, different one every single week. And for me, it's I mean, it can be a bit confusing. That's not. I'm no professional in any of that.
Some politician in England has just come out and announced himself as a trans.
And in my opinion, why does that matter?
You know.
Your sexual orientation, why does that matter if you can do the job? Because I don't care.
Right.
If you're good at it, gay, straight, man, it don't matter. That's not my.
I do agree with that.
That's not my lifestyle choice. I don't agree with it. But if you do the job, man, look,
The job
kudos, do it. I don't care about that. That's your choice. People don't maybe not like that I eat pig feet or fried chicken. But that's what I do.
And that's for all the health nuts out there.
Exactly. I do that because that's what I like to do. But if I can get my job done to close your loan, it doesn't matter. It makes never mind. That's where the deal is for me. We should just keep. It just used to be conversations where all of that stuff was just kind of, it don't matter. But
Now it sort of seems a big deal.
it is a huge deal. Right. It is definitely a huge deal. But nevertheless, that's where we are. That is where we are. With Disney, it's a lot of money that they stand to lose. I will say that.
When you say they, you're talking about the
Disney.
local community or Disney?
Disney. There's a lot of money that they stand to lose with those tax credits that they were
The tax
getting since the 60s. Yeah. It's been
Because they treat it like their own city, their own fire. their
almost
own
like they're a
gas,
sovereign entity inside of Orlando. I'm sure you've been to Disney, so if anybody that's gone there, you can. Disney is they're just over the top with everything. It's an experience that you never soon forget. We've been to the parks a couple times. We've been to the Disney cruise. I like Disney. I don't have a problem with them, but this whole situation is crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting stuff.
All right, what we got next?
Let's see, what's on the next thing on our list? Well, let's see. Oh, there is the one guy who apparently married 9 women for a sex roster. How the hell? I can't even get a second date. How the heck does this guy got 9 wives?
Okay, so
Is there an application for that?
I would say it might be. It's hard enough pleasing one woman. I couldn't imagine trying to.
I like the way it says it's not easy having 9 wives.
9 wives that he's actively rotating with. I don't know, man. It's just that it's crazy to me. That's absolutely crazy to me. I think it's a flex, as they call it. But it is what it is. Why would women even agree to that? Any idea? Why would someone agree to be number 9 in the rotation? Now this guy is from I think it's probably a bit of a Instagram or social media farce.
He's obviously got something that you or me haven't got.
Hey, he's more than me, but he's from Brazil. And he's married all these women. I guess it's legal to marry that many people in Brazil.
What country do they even let people?
Apparently he's from Brazil, so...
He's in Brazil. That's what I'm going to say. I guess the laws are different over there.
9 wives, dear God. I don't even have 9 ex-girlfriends. What the hell?
Yeah, he's over there living his worst life, I guess you can say, with nine women.
No,
It looks there like he's in England. He's in the UK.
Yeah.
Because it says there from Brazil. So and Danny Manley, look at them all. So actually, some of them are all right.
Not bad looking women.
Dude.
And look at him. He's a short guy.
During his wedding ceremony to 9 wives who all claim to enjoy the sex life with their husband.
Yeah, it's sad when we live in there's no respect for the institution of marriage like it used to be. Scroll down one more. That next picture, that's his first wife there. So she had to agree. They were both swingers, but she had to agree to let this man marry these other women, and apparently they were officially done that. Yeah. But there has been one divorce, though. There have been some ups and downs, but there's been one lady came to her senses. No pun intended. But one lady came to her senses. But it looks like a big slumber party. Look at her.
Yeah.
Everybody having fun, sharing in the groceries. I guess, you can pay off a mortgage pretty quickly that way.
How does he afford it?
Well, if everybody works.
I highly doubt that. I mean, seriously, if you can advertise for this just pays for itself.
So it's
Jeez.
the lady that did divorce them, she was an Instagram model. It says Arthur dreams of having 10 wives, so he's one short, and a child with each of them.
Are you actually out of your mind? I get panicked when I think about 2 kids.
Yeah. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is insane. Look at this dude.
America's so old-fashioned.
I don't care about old-fashioned.
We're behind the times, huh? We are behind the times. These women are out of their minds.
God.
I don't know. He affords them.
I don't either. I mean, they're literally everybody. They just.
Oh, look at that. Even got a wedding photo.
Wow.
But on the bright side, 9 wives, small church. That's good money price.
Hey, I guess.
I wonder if you get a discount.
What's the discount? Bring less than
You get
10.
a tenth off the price.
A 10.
One groom, 9 brides. Get a what? 80% discount.
Yeah.
Oh, and a big ass limousine. Yeah, that's another one.
Hey, it is what it is. Is what it is. All right, what else? We got any other ridiculousness on here? Let's see, we're at chapter 11.
Yeah, go figure.
Mr. Musk and Twitter.
Mr. Musk at Twitter, of course.
Well, we already know that he got it. It's $44 million. That's what the agreement is, right?
How do you think it's going to go?
At this point, it's got to go. The hope is that it can hold value because he agreed to $54.20, which today is like $6 above what they bought it.
But how do you think it's? I mean, he's running multiple companies. That's the problem.
Well, I think Twitter.
I mean, he's got Tesla.
Right.
He's got the Boring Company. What else has he got? He's got Tesla, Boring Company, Twitter. Now he's got Twitter, and there's another one, SpaceX. I mean, how do you think he's going to be able to be on the board or be the decision maker of all them companies? And I think I missed out one.
Did you hear? I know it's those three for sure, but did you hear that Governor Abbott had invited him to come here to bring Twitter here?
No.
That was recently, as of yesterday.
Governor Abbott can't even work out or sort something out for plates that have expired, paper plates that have expired. I put it on Twitter the other day. There was one that was June 2020.
And then nobody stopped him.
Nobody's stopping these people.
You know what? In fairness, that's not Governor Abbott's issue. That's more about a city issue. That'd be more Mayor Turner's issue.
I'm not bothered who's attorney. He needs to put pressure on somebody to stop these people driving around, because these people have
the penalties aren't as hefty as they used to be. I can remember driving without insurance, and they used to put these surcharges on you when you got a ticket. And so you had to pay the cost of the ticket, and then the state would penalize you another amount on top of that for the next 3 years. It was hefty, man.
Well, it needs to go back to that.
Well, I hated it because I didn't have any money back then, but I'll tell you what, it made me drive.
When you got paper
more
plates,
cautiously.
I seen one the other day, and I was in the car with Carolyn, and we was going somewhere last night, and we'd seen one, and it had May this year, 2025 or whatever. And I said, you know what, I have no problem with that. No problem with that at all. But you're not telling me a paper plate from June 2020, some policeman hasn't been behind it and seen that plate.
They don't want to deal with it. Yeah, they don't.
Is it a photocopy? Has the guy got insurance? Has he got insurance? Has he even got a driving license? Because I've been hit by somebody that hasn't had anything.
And nothing happened to her either, right?
No, she's still driving the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It upsets me so much.
We'll let the air out of her tire.
And she's driving around the neighborhood, perfectly okay a car looks a mess. And mine's in the shop.
Okay, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty petty about that. If she was at least driving around the neighborhood, I would try to follow her around to find out where she lived, just so that way I could actually report her. She can't run away from her own home.
Oh, I did that, but I couldn't follow enough. I lost her in an apartment complex. She was going to an apartment complex.
Oh yeah, you'll lose that anyways. You'll know which one she goes into. Besides, you don't want to be caught following a woman around. You might, something might happen to you. Terribly. But yeah, I don't know if Twitter's going to come to Texas, but
I think it's going to be interesting to see how Twitter does.
I think that would be.
The thing I can't understand about it is, why didn't Musk start his own platform? I think he would be, being an engineer, I think he could have started a better platform. All right. I don't know. Have you heard about the board of Twitter? Apparently they paid a salary of like 250,000 a year, and they only meet a couple of times. It's sort of, it's not.
Each member gets $250,000?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
But do you think that's a lot for somebody on the board of something like Twitter? I don't think it was that much.
For 250, I mean, if you say,
but they only meet a couple of times a year.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
They don't have much involvement. It sort of runs itself.
Right.
All right. And basically, what Elon Musk is saying, okay, if you're on the board, that's fine, but you're not getting paid nothing. Zero.
I'm with him.
All right. So they're not getting paid nothing now. The board that's on there at the moment, they don't own any shares.
Really?
They own very, very little shares.
Why would they?
That's what's caused part of the problem. It's all screwed up.
Bless you.
The person you've got to blame for that is Jack Dorsey.
Of course. Of course. He would, yeah.
He still owns, shares on it, but perhaps what he was bothered about was making his billions on his, on selling his shares. But it'll be interesting to me to see how Twitter does, and how it, I do think it's going to be quite a journey for Twitter.
Yeah. All right. Well, shoot.
You guys want to talk anything else before we actually log out?
I think we've been on, man.
We've done it.
That was a good conversation.
We've done it.
I think that was a good conversation. We'll hit it again next week.
For all my agents, have a good week. I know we've got some big closings this week.
Yeah, I got a couple notifications here, as we said here, some clear to close. So hopefully we can get more of that going. So, of course, this is what we talk about on the Olympian Table. Anything that
If not, any topics you want us to talk about.
Absolutely. And if you want to join real estate, mortgage, you see our information down in the description below. Join us each week, and please share this, like the video, share it with anyone you think that might benefit from this information that we have on here.
Absolutely. Have a good week, guys. If you can't be good, be wicked.